Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and we are back from spring break. Hopefully you're watching this ahead of time. And we are going to be able to say after today's video that I can find the roots, solutions, of a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. Now you may be asking, what is the quadratic formula? You've been seeing it around, but you may not have known what it is. Here, let me get a nice pretty color here. Oh, this is strange. It must think I'm doing something else. Hold on. Oh, it's doing it again. Let's go with this color. All right, you just need to learn the song, and it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And hopefully we'll sing that so many times you won't be able to forget it, kind of like your last name. All right, now, before I actually get to the quadratic formula, let me review. The quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, before I actually use the quadratic formula, I'm going to solve and graph this quadratic using factoring, what we were doing right before break. So first of all, I'm going to look to factor, and I know I need two factors of 15 that will subtract, because the 15 is negative, to get negative 2. Well, that would be like positive 3 minus 5. So this is going to factor as x plus 3 and a quantity of x minus 5. And I want it to equal 0, so I plug 0 in for y. And then I solve each part. X plus 3 equals 0. X equals negative 3. X minus 5 equals 0. X equals 5. And so negative 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, there's my zeros, and I'm going to label negative 3, 0, and positive 5, 0. And then I'm going to average them, right? So I'm going to take negative 3 plus a 5, divide by 2. That'll give me the x-coordinate of my vertex, which will be 2 over 2, which is 1. So in a t-table, if I let x be 1, I plug 1 in here, and I get what? 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 15. And I get 1 minus 2 minus 15, which it equals negative 16. So the point 1, negative 16 is on there. Maybe I'll count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So it's going to be right about there. My vertex is at 1, negative 16. I'm going really fast because it should be review. And then I'm going to do the best I can to draw my parabola. And then I'm going to be really lazy. And instead of trying to draw the other half, because it usually doesn't look really good, I'm going to flip it left. And I'm going to put that there. And there we go. It looks pretty symmetrical. Okay, it's a little wavy. It shouldn't be that wavy, but it's hard to draw with the airliner. Okay, but now some things don't factor. For example, like equation number 2 here does not factor. And so to solve equation number 2, I am going to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to use that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And when I do that, it's going to give me the roots or the solutions. Well, step 1 is going to be identify A, B, and C. Did you get that? Did you write that down? Step 1, identify A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Well, the equation looks like this. Y equals ax squared plus or minus bx, and then plus or minus c. All right. So a is the coefficient on x squared. Well, what's the coefficient here? There's a 1 there, right? So a is 1. This is b because it's the coefficient on x. That's 5. And in this case, c is 1. It is not always the case. Are you listening, Jared Martz? It is not always the case that c and a will be the same. They could be the same. They could be different. One of them could be 0. In this case, they're both 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so b is 5, but I want the negative of b, so I want negative 5 plus or minus square root. Now I need b squared, which is going to be 5 squared. Notice I use parentheses, minus 4 times a times c That whole thing is over 2 times 1. And now I'm going to simplify this. So I'm going to have a negative 5 plus or minus. I'm going to get 25 minus 4. The whole thing is going to be over 2. Okay, x is going to equal negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 2. And at this point, I'm going to go to my calculator. I actually have 2 problems here. I have one of my x's equal to negative 5 plus the square root of 21 divided by 2. And the other solution is x equals negative 5 minus the square root of 21 over 2. All right, I'm going to go to my calculator and get those answers. Hold on a second. Okay, I punched them in my calculator and I got approximately negative 0.21 and negative 4 7/79. Now, I only say approximately because the square root of 21 is an irrational number. You'll remember that from first quarter. We don't know the square root of 21. There is no exact square root of 21, so we can only do the approximation. All right, so now I'm going to do negative 0.21, which would be a little bit less than negative 1/4, on negative 4 7/9, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so it's a little bit more than 3/4. So I have a negative 4.790 and then negative 0.210. All right, so now I'm going to average them, okay? This will give me the x-coordinate of the vertex. So I'm going to go negative 0.21 plus negative 4.79 and divide by 2, which would be a negative 4 I think it's negative 5 on the nose. Yeah, that's right. Divide by 2, so equals negative 2.5. All right, so I'm going to go into my original equation here, which is this black equation. And so I'm going to go y equals x. Well, for x, I'm going to put negative 2.5. Negative 2.5 squared plus 5 times negative 2.5 plus 1. All right, so negative 2.5. So hold on a second. I don't want to make you watch that. I'm going to do that calculator. And I'm going to get negative 5.25. Negative 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to go to negative 2.5. And I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.25. And so I'm going to get negative 2.5, negative 5 1/4. And I can draw my parabola. And it's going to look something like that. And something like that. And there we go. All right, let's do 2 more examples and then we'll call this video. All right, so we're going to use the quadratic formula. X equals negative p plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so to do this, I need to identify a. A is going to be negative 1. B is going to be 3. And C is going to be 5. And so I go x equals negative of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to simplify it. X is going to equal negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 20. And that's over 10. And of course, that's just simply 29. So I have my 2 answers. I have x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 29 divided by 10. And then x is going to equal negative 3 minus the square root of 29 divided by 10. Okay, hold on. Okay, I went to my calculator and I got the approximate answers of 0.24 and 0.84. So 0.84 might be right about there. So 84 hundredths. And then negative 0.24 is going to be just about a negative quarter. So these guys are going to be kind of close to each other, negative 0.240. That is a decimal point. Now I'm going to average those. So I'm going to do 0.24 minus 0.84. That's the same as plus or negative. Here, I'll do that so I don't confuse you. And divide by 2. And I think that's going to be 0.60, and it'll be negative divided by 2, which would be negative 0.3. That's the x-coordinate of my vertex, negative 0.3. And so I'm going to go with a negative of negative 0.3 squared plus 3 times negative 0.3 and plus 5. And I'm going to go to my calculator here. And when I do that, my y-coordinate is going to equal about 4 1/100. Now I've got a feeling it comes out to 4 on the nose if I check it, but where you guys are at right now, if you can get this accurate, that's fine. So we've got to go negative 1/3 of the way, and then down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in this case, like I said, I think it's going to be sitting right there. But if you can get this much for where you're at, I think that's awesome. And we can talk later about why it's really 4. Okay, and so now I'm ready to graph my parabola, and this parabola is going to be really shooting up and kind of skinny-ish. And that does not look very good at all. I'm very ashamed of that parabola. It is difficult for me to draw it. Where is it? Okay, let me try again. I'm trying on my own. I'm having too hard of a time drawing it with the airliner, so I'm not going to do that. You just need to make a U shape between those points. Something that'll look like that. It's probably going to be a little skinnier, but something along those lines, okay? I don't think I can break the format of it. Trying it won't let me. So anyway, we got to be hitting those vertices. Okay, let's go on to the last example and then we can call it. All right, we need the quadratic formula. Remember, it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Oh, I have a mistake on the last problem. I have a mistake. Did you catch it? I just caught it right now. Oops, that's also another mistake. Hold on. This is in the wrong place. This needs to be up at 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 is positive, so my parabola actually needs to open downward in this case. And I know you've only seen a few of those, but that can happen. So we're going to get something like that. And then something like that. Okay. Anyway, so it will open downward. Sorry about that. All right, let's get back to x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals the negative of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And when I simplify that, I'm going to get negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 plus 12 all over 2. 2, sorry, not 21. And then, of course, x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 28 divided by 2. And so I'm going to get two answers here. X is going to equal negative 4 plus the square root of 28 divided by 2. And x is going to equal negative 4 minus the square root of 28 divided by 2. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the calculator for those. Okay, so that's what my calculator told me when I'm rounding to the hundredths. 0.65 is going to be a little bit more than a half. And then negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. All right, and let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, now if I average those, I'm going to get 0.65, 0.65 plus a negative 4.65 divided by 2, which I believe is going to come out to be negative 2. Okay, and then I'm going to stick negative 2 in for x. Negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 3. And that's going to be 4 minus 8 minus 3. And I think that's going to be negative 7. Yeah, -7. I like that. So my vertex is going to be at -2, -7. So -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there we go, -2, -7. And then I'm ready to draw my parabola. And I'll go shoop. And then we'll go shoop. And I expect your parabolas to look better. I can do them better on pencil and paper too. All right, that's your video for Easter break. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.